My name is Gabby, and for this speech I picked my hobbies and my interests, which is knitting and crocheting. It all kind of starts with two of my cousins. One of them is my cousin named Allie. She lives in California. She's this cute little blonde who has like the perfect life. She seems like she doesn't really have to work super hard, and yet she still aces all of her fancy medical classes, and she minors in Spanish. And then she always seems like she's on the beach, which is like 3 hours from her house. I don't even know how she manages that. But she's always on the beach or traveling or just having an awesome time. But she is friends with our cousin Jessica, who's kind of the same way, where it seems like all she really does is hang out at cute little coffee cafes with her Instagram little worthy dog named Coco Chanel. Always cute little pictures of Coco and her knitting and crocheting on the background. But I figured since they're great friends and I'm friends with cousin Allie, I should get to know Jessica. So I did. Around that time, she did have a couple issues and she needed a place to stay. So I offered for her to crash at my house for as long as she needed in exchange for her teaching me either knitting or crocheting. That did not end up happening. It did end up falling through, but I decided I did not need her to teach me. I was just going to teach myself. So I just went to the store. I bought a ton of yarn and needles and just started YouTubing like knitting for dummies or knitting basics or how to knit a scarf. And from there, that's what jump-started my love of knitting in September 2017. There are a couple basics that you do need to know. You need to know what yarn type and what yarn size and the corresponding needles. On the back of the yarn, it'll tell you what type of yarn it is. If it's like baby yarn or bulky yarn or medium weight, and it's I think levels 1 through maybe 5 or 6 going up to chunky, and it'll tell you what size knitting needles you need or crochet hook. But knitting needles, you can always go a couple sizes bigger. You should never go smaller, but you can always go bigger. I am newer at crocheting, so I haven't really learned the hooks yet. There's too many, and there's like millimeter and letters, I don't know. But I can tell you all about knitting. If you are gonna look it up through YouTube, you should not do what I did. Because when I was starting to crochet, I did look up a lot of YouTube videos, and I did not realize there's a difference between the UK's version and our version. So I learned their version, but I would come back to our websites and I would try to do those patterns, and I wasn't understanding why it wasn't turning out well because they were so different. Because crocheting, you do have like a single stitch, double stitch, a half double, a treble, and all this stuff, and that means something totally different. They're like one off from their version and our version, so you just need to make sure you have the right version. They say it's easier to start knitting first instead of crocheting, because knitting, you're working with 2 needles, and it's easier to go to 2 to 1 instead of working with just 1 hook and you try to add something. Like, people don't understand how to add it. It's kind of difficult for them. I mean, crocheting, you do get a lot done faster. You can stitch your stuff up faster. But if you want to learn both, I would start out with knitting. So my first thing I tried to make was a scarf for my mom. It did have all types of holes in it, and it was really ugly, and I took it all apart like twice. But she still was like, oh, I love it, it's great. And it was not great. But from there I keep making scarves and hats. I think I've made so far like 15 scarves. Maybe 10 hats, which are not easy at all. Dish scrubbies and dishcloths, a couple blankets, and some cute flower wreaths where you get a big styrofoam ring and it kind of looks like a steering wheel, and you could buy it anywhere. I bought it at my job, Joann Craft Store, or you could buy it at the dollar store or whatever. It's a big styrofoam ring, and you knit or crochet a big, kind of like a scarf, and you tie it around, you sew on your ends and make some flowers. It's so cute. But here is the dish scrubby. It is dish scrubby yarn. It does not fade. The color doesn't fade. It doesn't get moldy, and it doesn't get stinky. It doesn't get stinky. It doesn't get moldy, and it's really cute. And then here is another scarf I made. It took me forever to make it because I got bored. But there's this little charm on there, and it says made with love, and I put it on every single thing I make. It's like my Gabby charm. It's cute, tiny. A lot of people don't even notice it. And then this was my first crocheted scarf, which has like a ton of holes in it, and it's not that great, and it's obnoxiously long. Like if you put it to the floor, it goes to here. But basic infinity scarves are about like half that length. But I just had the rest of the yarn, so I just finished it off because I wasn't gonna do anything with the rest of the yarn. You know, you just kind of have a yarn stash of like little bitty balls of yarn that you're never gonna use. I love knitting and crocheting instead of like just putting my nose in my phone anytime I go somewhere. If I'm going to get an oil change, I know it's gonna take an hour or two, I just bring whatever little portable projects I have with me. I always get from mostly older people, you know, oh, I can't believe you young whippersnapper, I can't believe you're doing that. You know, my grandma used to do that, or my mom. You know, it's kind of dying out. I don't see anyone doing that anymore, and they're not wrong. You know, it's something you don't see a lot of younger people doing. You know, I guess it was just maybe an age difference type of thing, because nowadays we can just go buy a scarf for $5 from Walmart. You know, why would we spend $15 on yarn, and then you gotta buy the needles, or if you already have them, and you gotta spend so much time and patience and work into it, you know, just to make something. But you really get a sense of satisfaction, you know, from seeing what you've made, like seeing what you've accomplished, and you give it to someone else and their face lights up like, you made this for me? Thanks. And, you know, once they get compliments on it too, it makes you feel even better because you're like, I made that, thank you. And, you know, knitting and crocheting, they teach you patience, because this scarf probably took like a whole month of me just working on it. Like I didn't stop and I didn't work on my other projects. It probably took a whole month of me trying to just build on it every time I got off work and I got home, or on the weekends. Yeah, it probably took a whole entire month. And that other one I worked on for a whole year because I switched in between projects. And oh, the blanket I made took at least 4 or 5 months just working on a blanket to make a huge blanket. So it teaches you patience. It teaches you kind of like how to stay busy. And I can do that at the gas station, or at the getting an oil change. I can do that and still pay attention to my surroundings. I can still talk to people and interact with people or watch TV, and you can't really do that when you're on your phone. You know, if you're on your phone, you see so many videos of people just running into things because they're not paying attention. So I can do this and still pay attention, you know, and it teaches you, I think it teaches you better hand-eye coordination. You know, you're working with multiple things going on at once, or you're counting stitches and you're matching patterns. It's a lot, but I think it's worth it. It may seem scary or difficult to pick up a new hobby, but it's not that hard. You just have to want to start. You just have to want to do something. And it's as easy as that. You can go to the craft store, Michael's or Joann's or anywhere, and you can even just buy it off of Amazon if you don't want to go anywhere. Just buy like basics. There's starter kits. There's easy peasy. You can Google what to do to start knitting or crocheting, you know. It's so easy. But from there, you could just learn how to do amazing things. You could make pants and cardigans and gloves and socks and really tricky things. There's so many fancy things out there if you just look it up that I can't even comprehend how to do them. But I think it's important for people just to have hobbies. Any hobby. You know, you just don't want to work, sleep, repeat, work, sleep, repeat. You need something to fill in those gaps. It's great if you love your job, but even then I think you need something extra, something to keep you busy and to keep you interested and to keep your time, you know. Even if it's not knitting or crocheting, there's quilting, there's scrapbooking, I guess car building. There's a million other hobbies, but I think it's so interesting and important for people to get hobbies in their life.